Coming up on the Paper Talk today, as you would expect, most of the stories focusing on that defeat at Stamford Bridge. Quotes from the manager and Bruno Fernandes. Not a good night for Manchester United. And unfortunately, the worst could yet be to come. Let's get into it. Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford and it looks like it's starting to rain. It's spitting. Get them in. As you would expect, most of the stories this morning focusing on the morning after the night before. Manchester United throwing the game away against Chelsea. Going into the 96th minute, the Reds were 3-2 up against Mauricio Pochettino's men. We end up losing the game 4-3 thanks to a late penalty from Cole Palmer and an even later winner from the Wythenshawe-born youngster. I mean, it's just so annoying, deflating, frustrating, all those words, anything you want to describe it. And the manager's sentiments, which are dominating the back pages this morning, sort of reflect that. He talks about, poor decision-making. He said about throwing it away. He spoke about the fact that, we started off poorly, then got ourselves back in the game. And then, like I said, we threw it away. The decision-making just wasn't there. And we didn't react quickly enough. And those were sentiments that were echoed by his captain, Bruno Fernandes, who even said that we know that Chelsea are quick when they take throw-ins and corners. And we should have been, we defensively weren't ready for that. I mean, it's just really frustrating, as I've just already said. I know I'm repeating myself, but it is. And the manager and Bruno Fernandes' comments, whilst they're bang on the money, it's hard to disagree with him. It doesn't make it any easier. And I think now the pressure is on both the players and the manager himself. We're going into a big game on Sunday. Bruno Fernandes mentioned that fact, it's a massive game on Sunday against Liverpool. And going into that game, off the back of two demoralising results, you look at the Brentford game, where it was a poor performance and we conceded a late equaliser, even though we were pretty lucky, to be honest with you, to take the lead against Brentford in the 95th minute or whatever it was, to then concede a late equaliser, leave Brentford with just 1 point. Then, a few days later, you go to Stamford Bridge, you go 2 goals behind in the first 20 minutes or whatever it was. Get yourselves back into it, take the lead, and then in the 95th minute, 96th minute, United were pretty much dominating the game in terms of possession. We were Olaying it at one point. I thought, this looks pretty comfortable. Chelsea's heads look like they dropped. Then we have a mistake. The lad gets the wrong side of Diogo Dalot. Bit unlucky with the penalty, but if you fall over in the box and you're knocking someone down, or the lad goes down, in this day and age, you're always looking towards getting a penalty, and that's what happened. But even then, you've got to see the game out. You've got to get at least a point from it. To concede in the way we did, to leave Cole Palmer on the edge of the box completely unmarked and not react quick enough, it's just unforgivable. It really is. And if you're Jurgen Klopp and you're Liverpool, you're looking at that result and going, United are there for the taking this weekend. Now, I know we just beat Liverpool in the FA Cup, but I expect Sunday to be a much tougher proposition. They've just got a big result at home. I know it was only Sheffield United, but it's a result they had to get. The title race is heating up. They know that they can't afford to drop any points. And I think they'll come here with the tails up. I think they will. And I think United needs to rally. We need to get our chins up and keep going. I know that was about 10 cliches in a row, but it's true. We cannot afford to put in a performance like we did against Brentford here on Sunday against Liverpool. We cannot afford to capitulate against Liverpool like we did against Chelsea, as we will get battered and Erik Ten Hag will be in all sorts of trouble. The pressure is on the manager now. He knows it. The fans know it. And I think Ineos know it as well. There was pictures last night of the likes of Dave Brailsford, the likes of Sir Jim Ratcliffe sat in the stands at Stamford Bridge. There's not been really any clear indication of how Ineos feel about Erik Ten Hag. It depends on how you interpret the comments we've heard from Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He did mention when he came in the fact that it's not just the managers you look at when you've had so many managers over the last 10 years or whatever it's been, 11 years, and we haven't really had the success we should have done. You can't just blame the managers. He also mentioned more recently when he did the Geraint Thomas podcast about the fact that Arsenal had stuck with Mikel Arteta, shown patience with him, and they were reaping the rewards now. People looked to that as an indication that he was going to show patience with Erik Ten Hag, but it's not clear cut. He hasn't come out and emphatically backed the manager and said, look, Erik Ten Hag is my guy. He's not going anywhere. We haven't had that from Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He's been a little bit more coy around that. So depending on how you want to interpret his comments, depends on how you're looking at the job security that Erik Ten Hag has. I'm not so sure, to be honest with you. Part of me feels that they will look at it and go, look, the season we've had, the injuries we've had, it's not all on the manager. But then you can't keep losing football matches. I know I keep saying that, but it's true. We've lost 12 games in the Premier League this season. Not to mention the amount of games we lost in the Champions League as well, and getting knocked out of the Carabao Cup at home to Newcastle. That's not acceptable. It just isn't. And as the stat I saw this morning, I think with Statman Dave, I think we've conceded the third amount of shots across Europe's top 5 leagues. I think we've conceded 506 shots, I think it is, behind, I think, Luton on 529 and Sheffield United on 540. So we're the third highest in terms of the shots we've conceded. You can't carry on like that. You can't ignore that. You can't keep conceding shots at Manchester United. It's costing us. It's not a coincidence that we're on a minus goal difference. I think our goal difference is -1, and we've lost 12 games in a league. That isn't just, unfortunate. If you keep conceding shots, you're going to concede goals, and that's what's happening. Now, I'm no football expert. Anyone who watches the channel will know that. But even I know you can't carry on like that. Something's got to change. Now, is it just the injuries? Is it the players who just need to take a look at themselves? Is it the manager? Or is it all of the above? It's probably a little bit of all three, to be honest with you. Injuries have cost us. The players need to do better. And the manager probably can do a little bit better himself. Does that mean he needs to lose his job? I still feel, now that I've had a chance to calm down, there's a small glimmer of hope for this manager. I do. I feel like if we can do something in the FA Cup, let's not just say do something. If we can win the FA Cup, and it's a big if, but if he can win the FA Cup, and again, this is another big if, we can get a result on Sunday against Liverpool, I think he'll give himself a fighting chance, because if he can have a positive end to the season, if we can beat the likes of Liverpool, if we can beat Arsenal, we've got them as well. And again, I'm not saying we will, but if we can, and we can stop City in the FA Cup final, because I think it's going to be them, especially after what I saw from Chelsea last night. I know they beat us, but I think City will beat them in their semi-final. Then there's a chance that I think Erik can keep his job, and we can look towards next season with the same manager, which would be a bonus, wouldn't it? Because if you keep changing managers, it's not great. But there's two big ifs there. If we don't do anything in the FA Cup, we lose the final to City, or if we get beat badly on Sunday, I think he's going to be in all sorts of trouble. I can't see Sir Jim Ratcliffe sitting in the stand here on Sunday watching United get torn apart and thinking, yeah, I'm going to stick with Erik Ten Hag. Get involved in the chat and the comments. You know my feelings towards manager. I'll always back the manager, but I can't just be deluded and say that Ineos are going to do the same and that there's not any problems at Manchester United. The manager has to take some responsibility, as do the players, because far too many of them last night let their heads drop. Just another couple, well, one more story doing the rounds this morning as well. United have been linked with Rodrigo. There's a story, I think it's come out of Fijajes, the Spanish publication, saying that Real Madrid could be ready to offload him. It's going to cost around 130 million euros. Do I see United going for that? Probably not. I think this might be a little bit of mischief making from the Spanish press. There's talk of obviously Kylian Mbappe going there, so they could be looking to offload Rodriguez. Rodriguez, that's not right. Will that happen? Will Manchester United come in for him and spend that kind of money? I don't think so. Let me know what you think, whether you can see us spending the big money on Rodrigo or anyone else. We've also been linked as well with João Neves for around 100 million euros. That seems more likely if we are going to spend big money on one player. But again, I don't know if it will happen. I know that Manchester United do need to strengthen in the summer. We're miles away from where we need to be. Injuries aside, we've still not got enough quality in this squad, and you can see it. We've been unlucky. I mean, to lose Rafael Varane during the game, Johnny Evans come on and then lose him as well is unfortunate. But you can look at the squad and you can just see there, the quality's not there. It's not strong enough. And it's unfortunate because last night could have been a real positive. I thought there was some good performances. Garnacho did well to get his brace. Anthony, who got praise of the manager, had one of his best performances, if he's not his best performance in a Manchester United shirt. But in the end of the day, we leave Stamford Bridge with no points. And we're looking down a barrel of a gun here with Liverpool coming on Sunday. It's going to be a long afternoon if we play like we did in those last few minutes against Chelsea. I'm going to leave it there. Make sure you are hitting like.